Every month, I usually make one main trip to my local gas station to not only fill up the rig of choice that is the most empty that month that I use the most fuel in, but also to fill up these 3 gas cans that's 10 gallons worth of gas. And I do that for a couple of reasons. First off, so I don't have to make as many trips to the gas station. Every time my rigs are in the garage, I can just top them off with these gas cans here. But also, secondly, the local gas station that I use has a rewards program that usually gives me $1 off per gallon for 1 full fill up. So obviously, it's more cost effective to not only fill up the fuel tank in one of my rigs, but also fill up another 10 gallons of gas cans at the same time in that full fill up, since I am getting $1 off per gallon. The problem here, or at least the annoyance, is it's not exactly, I wouldn't say not easy, but it's a little bit annoying to have to not only fill up your rig, but then also 3 separate gas cans every time that I do this main fill up. The real problem, though, is using these style of gas cans with this style of filler nozzle. Whoever designed these click style nozzles, whether it's the Harbor Freight one here with the click tab, or the Rotopax one with it's a kind of a twist, and this one's already broken. Whoever designed these, I'm sorry, but they are simply not as environmentally friendly as they're designed to be, as they're sold to be. I have spilled more gas using these style of nozzles on these gas cans than I could ever count filling with a normal flexible nozzle hose. It is just the most frustrating thing, because not only are these things super rigid, they're also extremely annoying to get into your fuel filler neck in your rig. I don't have as many problems with my Wrangler, but I have a ton of problems with my ZJ. The filler neck in my ZJ is recessed into the body here, and unfortunately that limits the angle that I'm able to really shove this in and start filling fuel. The filler necks on the ZJs, the 97 Grand Cherokee, actually has a little door tab in it. If I don't get this filler nozzle all the way in, and I think I do, and start pumping, all the fuel starts splashing back out. My most recent fill up that I did with this gas can right here, I thought I had it all the way in, started filling up, and I had nothing but a gallon of fuel all over the side of my rig and all over my garage floor. It wasn't fun, it was a waste of money, and it was very annoying and messy. But that is what has me excited for today's video. Because as you could see, I have the Garvee Fuel Caddy, which is a 15-gallon capacity fuel can, if you really want to call that, but it's a 15-gallon capacity fuel caddy that can hold gasoline, diesel, or even motor oil that has a siphon-operated fuel pump attached to it. You pull this little tab down here, and you can start siphoning fuel into your rig. Yes, this is a rigid nozzle, but it's shaped and is designed just like any other fuel pump at a gas station. So we're gonna have no issues anymore filling up both my Wrangler and my ZJ here. No more spills in the garage and nothing but easy flowing gas into both of my rigs. With the old gas cans that I have, with those style of fuel nozzles, I'd be lucky if I got half a gallon a minute. If that, it is slow, so slow filling up my rigs with those gas cans. But with this siphon fuel pump, it's rated at 2 gallons per minute. So I'm gonna be able to fill my rigs up in a decent amount of time compared to those. And as you can see on the side here, the Garvee Fuel Caddy has 6-inch wheels on it that makes it very portable and convenient to wheel around in your garage or on your property to any rig or piece of equipment that you need to fuel up. And not to mention, once again, it's 15 gallons, so at least in my situation, this is going to be even more cost efficient for my monthly fuel fill-ups, where I get that $1 off per gallon. So that's 5 extra gallons that I get to bring home with me at a discount, which is great. That is just so cool. It's made with HDPE material. It is UV resistant, corrosion resistant. You're not gonna have to worry about it breaking down or degrading, whether it's inside your garage or out in the sun for extended periods of time. So with all that said, I am very excited to get this Garvee Fuel Caddy tested here in the garage. So I'm gonna go ahead, head to the gas station, get my ZJ all filled up, and get this 15-gallon fuel caddy filled up as well. We'll get it back here to the garage and test out its performance, see how it operates, and I mean, I'm really hoping to be impressed by this, because I've had nothing but problems with my old gas cans, and I think this is gonna work out for me in the long run. The one thing I do have to note in regards to me getting this filled up every month is the caddy itself. I mean, it's light, but it is 22 pounds as is. And with 15 gallons of gas, that's another 100 pounds, bringing it around 120 to 130 pounds when full. I'm gonna have this in the back of the ZJ. I'm gonna fill it up in the back of the ZJ and then carefully lift it out, let it down out of the trunk. I am curious to see how that's going to go. 130 pounds should not be terrible for me, but be aware of that if you are going to be purchasing and using this product. Yeah, when full, it's going to be very heavy, and you got to make sure you're going to be able to haul around that weight when you get it filled up. So I'm going to go ahead, throw this in the ZJ, and I'll see you back here in the garage in just a moment. Damn, that's really going to do that, huh? All over in there. Gotta take that out. Some gas all in there. So something right away. This is way too restrictive. This little filter, way too restrictive. Just got gas all over in here. That's fine. I'll get it cleaned out. With this little screen out, it's just going right in, right in. With the screen in, wouldn't even go in, wouldn't even go in. Okay, it's telling me to stop, so, oh yeah, we're pretty filled there. All right, let's get our screen back in. Let me put this back. Screen goes in. Get our little cap. Tighten that down, push these back. Let's go. Here we are back in the garage with the Garvee Fuel Caddy, fully filled with roughly 15 gallons of fuel. As you saw, I definitely had a little bit of trouble filling up this fuel caddy because that screen that's in the filler here is kind of really restrictive. So I had to take the screen out, but once I removed it, I was able to fill up the Garvee Fuel Caddy without any restriction whatsoever and filled it up in just a few minutes, honestly. So now is the test to see if we can actually successfully put a gallon or two in my Wrangler here. I think I am short maybe like 5 or 6 gallons right now. So I'll just see if it's easy or if it's not. Topping this off. In their promotional material, they do show that the caddy is hung up on like the bed of a work truck, for example, they also show someone filling up their boat with the caddy above the boat on the dock. But the last picture that you see is actually someone using this to fill up their tractor, right? And it's actually lower than the tractor. I say all that because I just looked at the instructions and it says that the siphon, which if you understand how siphon vacuums really work, it is assisted by gravity, if you will. So I'm curious. I'm probably not going to get the 2 gallons per minute that they rate this for, but I hope I could at least easily fuel this up without having to, awkwardly hold a fuel can over my Wrangler or the ZJ for that matter as well. So we'll see. Now, in order to get fuel transferred out of our caddy into the Jeep here, there's 2 things we have to do. First, we actually have to let air allowed into the caddy flowing down, as you would expect. So let's loosen this up. We actually hear it hissing. So that's allowing air into our caddy, which will allow fuel to flow through. And secondly, let's just get this hose up and lifted. We have our shutoff valves here. There's 2, one on the caddy end and one on the hose end. You want to make sure they're both straight, which will mean they're open and fuel will be allowed to flow. So let's go ahead. We're going to open the hose side. Oh, and that just spilled all over the garage floor. Is this not tight enough? So I made 2 dumb mistakes. The first one was I simply just didn't have the hose tightened on the brass fitting to the caddy. So when I let that loose, obviously fuel just started spilling on the garage floor. But secondly, I didn't record this. I went ahead and to tighten it, tilted the caddy backwards. And in doing so, since this was already loosened to allow air to flow through, it poured fuel out of the cap here and onto the floor as well. Not a lot, but just a little bit, enough to learn from my mistakes here. But now we have our caddy ready, air flowing through the top, and the brass fitting has both valves open, ready for us, and I can feel there is fuel on this hose already, ready for us to just go right into the Wrangler here, pull down on this, and give it some pumps. I'm hearing some stuff. Oh man, we're pumping fuel like actively. Oh, that is so cool. So being that the caddy's on the floor, we aren't going to get any siphoning or vacuum properties from this, but I will say just being able to pump it up and listen, we are getting a very decent amount of fuel pumped in. And this is with very little effort, honestly. This pump is very light, very easy to use. And let me listen. Yeah, no, I'm not getting any siphoning function whatsoever. That is because it's on the ground. But for my use case, this is honestly very exciting. I can just pump fuel into my rig. And I'm not getting it all over the place. It fits right in the filler neck and fills up my Jeep. I just got to pump it, but once again, this isn't an issue at all. I am getting a lot of fuel in here. So let me just hang out here, pump it for a couple minutes, and yeah, I'll tell you my final thoughts on this Garvee Fuel Caddy. Man, this is cool. So although I wasn't able to really get the siphoning function out of the Garvee Fuel Caddy here, since as you can see it's lower than my Wrangler's filler neck, this was still a really convenient and clean, when I didn't mess up, way to transfer fuel from a gas can, which is basically your own personal fuel pump, into my Jeep here. Filling up this 15-gallon caddy at the gas station when removing the screen really was straightforward and simple. Transporting it to and from the gas station was a breeze. And honestly, even though it was full of 15 gallons of gas, lifting it out of the trunk of the ZJ, I was surprised it really wasn't that bad at all. I just grabbed it from the handle from the other end, carefully lifted it up, and carefully placed it on the ground. Once it was on the ground though, I just wheeled it on into the garage, and with these really sturdy 6-inch wheels that actually have rubber tires on them, it was so easy just to wheel it on in, and it feels so light when wheeling it around. Yeah, the Garvee Fuel Caddy really is like having your own personal fuel pump in your garage. And I am super happy, super stoked to continue using this for my monthly gas fill-ups and then topping off my rigs throughout the rest of the month. I think I actually put a good 5 gallons into the Wrangler. Let's see if I can get a light on here. That's more than 5 gallons. Interesting. It's up to here. Huh. Wow. No, that's actually shocking. You know what? It shouldn't be so shocking. I do recall the Wrangler had about 210 miles left, and now it has about 350. So right now my gauge was reading 18 miles per gallon. Yes, let's just think 20, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I put about 8 or 9 gallons into the Wrangler in that time. That was no time at all, even without the siphoning. Wow. No, that's actually really shocking. That's really shocking. I didn't even have the siphoning working just with how I'm using it. And I put 8 to 9 gallons in the Wrangler in a few minutes by just pumping. That's really cool. That is so cool. I'm happy. I'm very happy with this. My one recommendation, make sure that you really tighten the hose to the brass fitting, or else it will leak. Mine actually leaked again after I stopped recording the last clip. It was leaking into and soaking up into that rag I had underneath. So once I made sure it was super tightened, it was all good from there. So make sure you tighten it, because it will spill if you don't. The Garvee Fuel Caddy, 15 gallons of your own personal fuel pump in your garage. For right now on their website, it is going for $140. Gas cans aren't cheap. I'm pretty sure my 5-gallon Harbor Freight one was around $30 actually for 5 gallons. And this is 15 gallons, has wheels, is very portable for what it is, and has a fuel pump on it. In my mind, for me, this is worth it for you having multiple rigs or even multiple toys, right? Side-by-sides, ATVs and whatnot, and you're constantly filling them up with old gas cans, or worse, gas cans with those crappy filler nozzles. Yeah, I really do recommend the Garvee Fuel Caddy. This is going to really revolutionize how I operate in the garage here and how I fill up my rigs. So if you're interested in getting yourself the Garvee Fuel Caddy for your garage or your property, go ahead to the description below and click on that link and use coupon code ROA10, that is ROA10, for 10% off this on Garvee's website. I'll have that coupon code in the description as well. So if it's currently running right now for $140, that's $14 off. It's going to end up being about $126 you know, give or take with tax and whatnot. But in my mind, for how expensive gas cans are in general and how cumbersome they are, if you're like me and you constantly store gas in your home, on your property for use in your vehicles and your tools and your rigs, this here pays for itself in its ease of use and how much gas you really can store in just one portable unit that operates like your own personal fuel pump, your own little gas station. Thank you very much for watching. Click the link in the description below. Use that coupon code ROA10 for 10% off, and I'll see you in the next one.